the back slider open?
Yes, sir.
Heartbreak occurred when a 2-year-old boy drowned in the lake while his mother was away from him. First responders did everything they could to revive him at the scene, but he suffered permanent brain damage. 4 months later, the mother was arrested and charged with child neglect, resulting in great bodily harm. Debate has been stirred over accountability and caregiving regarding the profoundly serious results of neglect.
Was the back slider open?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any family that's in the area?
Charles 17 is on the scene. Please start a crime scene log.
Are they on their way coming?
Dada.
Daddy's coming?
Yeah, 45 hours.
It all began when law enforcement was called to a residential apartment complex for a report of a drowning child. Witnesses at the scene explained that the toddler could have wandered out through an open door, taking him to the nearby lake. When police arrived on scene, EMS was frantically trying to save the boy's life. Officers quickly secured an area for safety, offering as much assistance as possible. The father of the child was informed of this, and he immediately ran to the spot, while other family members anxiously waited for a word regarding the condition of the boy. According to the mother, it was a chaotic moment filled with confusion and fear as she realized her child had gone missing. This very sad incident brings into serious question some issues regarding supervision, especially when it involves small children and the perils of a home hazard that usually would never be suspected. Because the mother was arrested at the scene as the investigation went on, law enforcement did believe her to be very much at fault through her negligence. This was only the opening salvo of what would be a very long legal process. Certainly for her, but for the family as a whole. One of the children was taken to the hospital, while the second child was reportedly turned over to state care, placing an added strain on the family.
Yeah, you'll be there shortly. You can start the process.
Okay. What's your name? Anastasia. All right.
We're getting the ball rolling for all of that.
308.
I found a window for you.
All right, come on. Let's get you some shoes.
Over.
I always have the window, the slider open because
The case has also thrown up the aspect of planning and securing a safe environment for the child at all times, especially when adults might be busy or stepping out of the house. Minor actions, including locking of doors, accounting for children, and avoidance of distractions, could make all the difference in preventing such accidents. These discussions talked about the realities of balancing daily obligations such as going to work and doing housework with demands being created by parenting, the usual challenge that many families face. Afterwards, the mother was really distraught and overcome with overwhelming feelings of guilt about the accident. Her feelings flowed from her in streams of tears and prayers, as she was afraid to not only for her child, but also for any pending lawsuits against her. It finally dawned on her how pushed she had been to the breaking point by the situation, not knowing exactly how to digest the weight of all that had happened. According to her, parenting did not come with instructions, and that great pressure made her feel so helpless.
hello. Okay, and I'm here. Talking with the police.
Hey, 14 was home. 97 in the area.
Neighbor has a distinction. Go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. Bye. I love you.
That's the father, or is that your
Father. It's very close.
Apart from the emotional damage, the mother faced possible charges of child neglect hanging over her head. These might affect not only her freedom, but also question her being a good enough parent. Certainly, she was fighting for the immediate consequences of drowning, the long-term effects this incident would have on her family, her children, and herself. The incident also brought to light some very disturbing details about the state of mind of the mother at the time of committing such a heinous act. It was found that she had smoked marijuana before taking care of her children, an act most likely to dull her judgment and attentiveness. The consequences of this decision were devastating. It is in this case that it will be shown not only how this contributed to her failure to properly supervise her child, but also how such failure in supervision was related to the tragic outcome of having irreversible brain damage due to the near drowning. It would be months after the tragedy that the authorities finally arrested the mother on charges of child neglect. The question would be how such cases were handled and how complex it was to determine accountability in such instances. This perhaps could be a factor in time that the investigators needed to put together sufficient evidence, or they had to consult medical experts in order to comprehend fully the extent of the child's injuries and how they were related to the mother's actions or lack thereof.
The CNA, the one that was talking to me, she was after the fact. She was doing CPR.
Switching to channel
You want her 14? Okay.
Never switch.
And I got the maintenance guy 14, which heard more of the stuff that's all. How did he say that he saw that? He did. It was all Spanish. But how did he say that? She said to him she was in the shower. That's what he was hearing.
She's saying that she just told me very briefly. I went to the bathroom. The kids were watching TV. I went to the bathroom. By the time I was done going to the bathroom, I started washing my hands, and my daughter started saying, "Baby, baby, baby," and I ran out of the bathroom and found that her hair's wet. She was taking a shower.
Yeah, and that woman has washed her hands. So.
Never switch.
This case reminds people of a child's safety and of what might surface as a consequence from just one lapse in judgment. Permanent brain damage to the boy makes for a sad, neglectful substance use outcome that speaks volumes about the heavy responsibility to be undertaken with young children. The emotional toll that this has taken on the family is immense, especially on the parents. They are left to mourn not only the child's lost future, but also to answer legal and moral questions regarding the mother's part in the incident. The arrest, months after the drowning, speaks to a complexity in child neglect cases that often demand extensive investigation before charging. Nevertheless, the delay also raises concerns about the efficiency of the legal system in bringing such cases before the courts when a child's life and well-being are placed at risk. Of course, this incident has turned her world upside down. She now has the burden of court proceedings against her and, thus, the possible loss of custody for her children. With every painful reminder, she depicts how life can drastically take a turn because of one weak moment in judgment. The mental anguish she feels is multiplied by the fear that she is to face serious legal charges and leaves her speculating how things went so tragically wrong.
Turn around, place your hands behind the back, you're under arrest. I'll explain to you just a second. Are you alone? What's that?
Miss, are you home alone? Is there any like little ones inside that we gotta arrange for or anything like that? Just you? Okay.
Kids are, one's at the hospital, one's in care of the state, right? So you're under arrest for that incident that happened here. I guess they got charges on you. We're not the investigating. We're the guys that they say go find her. We have charges. Okay. So you're being charged with child neglect that caused great bodily harm. Okay. Do you have any property you want to bring with you? A cell phone? Do you want to lock your apartment?
Yeah, my cell phone, please.
Okay. Where's your cell phone at?
In my bedroom in the bathroom.
Well, let's go. Hey, we're gonna. I'm gonna take her in there to get her cell phone and get her keys so we can.
Ultimately, this case is a reminder of the dangers of neglect, the responsibilities that come with parenthood, and how one wrong decision can have impacts far beyond the incident itself. While the legal processing is ongoing, the family is left to cope with the harsh reality that their lives will never be the same. In light of this incident, dialogues about children's safety, the roles of caregivers, and the influence of substances, leaving cloudy judgment with irreversible consequences, come into question. This tragedy, in the end, points out how much caregivers have to be observant and aware of what is happening around them and that their children are safe at all times. While accidents do happen and will happen, it is the terrible outcome of this case that leads to immense responsibility taken and high stakes involving in taking care of young lives. Thank you for watching. If the story has moved you, then please like and share to spread awareness about child neglect. We strive to highlight real-life stories such as this one. If you wish to learn more about other tragic stories or other true shocking crime stories, then subscribe and ring the notification bell. This way, you will never miss out on any updated content. Until next time, stay safe and take care.